5,123 miles, 3.5 years of commuting on this bike, and also the other bikes. So you got to add in the other ones I've been sampling. This one I purchased though, and so I just thought I would go through and kind of give you guys highlights, the good and the bad. And again, this is 3 years old. I do hope that Rad eventually does improve on some of the technology they do, like a mid-drive or something like that. Torque sensing, anything to up the game. I get they got to keep the lights on, but I think that would be really good. My feedback to them is see what you do to improve it. So let's go through it. With that said, let's go through it. All right, the kickstand. This was one thing that, by the way, this is a third-party kickstand, right, from my other bike that I had, and so this one also ended up vibrating off. So that's what is happening here. The original mounted right here, and it eventually vibrated off and went. One thing I must say is e-bikes, there's so much force that's going on and activity that things just kind of rattle loose. So just keep that in mind when you're checking your bike. You should probably do that every month. Make sure things are tight. I never did that, so it's my bad. Okay, so that was kind of a weakness. The motor's been really strong. This is a 750 watt. Never really had any issues with this guy at all. That's been good. The pedal assist sensor, this basically, the thing that was, I think I did a video on this already, but we're gonna go around here. Right here, this thing, from putting it into where you park your bike, putting it in there, this got jammed and hit, and then eventually this thing just kind of, the sensor thing kind of came out. Pedal assist anyway, I'm not really a fan. It's really kind of not a very smart system. Torque sensing is much better. Battery life, can't complain. I drain this thing every single day, and it does what it does. And I know a lot of people like, you should only go to a certain percentage and stop it, whatever. I'm using my bike, you know, that's what I'm committing to. 3.5 years, it's still working. Not great. I get barely my 14 miles in on my commute, and that's about it. I've had no issues with the controller. I did have an issue with the pedal crank where the bearings had to be repacked. I didn't do it, a store did it. This is a third-party seat. I've tried the other seats that they have, the real fancy ones. I'm not really impressed by the fancy one. This one was 20 bucks. Once it kind of got broken in, this one works really well. That's on Amazon. I think I have a link in my kit, so check that out. This is my Plasti Dip. This is not like the Rad bike. See how that just peels off? I Plasti Dip black. I was bored with white. I don't know. I felt like white was like a white antelope or something. So anyway, so now it just kind of got this rough look to it. So sorry, Rad, I know you probably think I'm crazy. Props to the seat and the handles. 3.5 years. I mean, very minimal wear and tear on these. You can see what I got here. That's not too bad. Bell still works really well. The brakes are cable brakes. There's nothing special about them. They're functional. The gearing, I don't really change gears much. I don't really have any complaints about that. I do like the pedals. The pedals are good quality, good grip to them. Oh, the one thing I maybe don't like as much are the front forks. I think the forks, over time, they get kind of like weirded out. At times it kind of feels like they're just gonna, I don't know, snap off or something. It's kind of a strange feeling. So I think that's something that over time probably would be an issue. Computer, no issues with the computer. That's all been working well, up and down. Pedal assist, of course, doesn't work for mine anymore. The throttle on mine broke, and not blaming Rad. It might have been that third-party thing that I had on there, which wrapped around it, which allowed you to turn it into like a thumb drive. Like you could accelerate with your thumb versus, but the problem is it applied pressure around this guy, and I think over time that kind of like screwed that thing up. Again, I don't really change gears very much. The front light, I removed the light because I didn't want to use any power from the from the bike itself, so I didn't, I just cut that thing off, didn't use it. I have a bunch of third-party lights I've used. I had people steal my lights though, so maybe it would have been better to keep the light that it came with, because nobody would steal that one probably. My Rad did not come with a rear light, so that was a strange one. I feel like that's a bit of a miss from them, but there's the balance. Do you steal power from your own battery? But overall, oh yeah, there's this too. Okay, so you know how you can mount like water bottles and things, and they did a good design because they had it on both sides. Unfortunately, on both sides, when I used them a couple times here or there, put different things on them, and I had a bike lock on there for a while, water bottle on there for a while, and then what ends up happening is they got stripped or whatever. That did not go well. There's that. Oh yeah, and then people give me crap about that too. There's a bracket here, so when you change the rear tire, it's a total pain. So that was a problem too. But in general, my God, I can't complain. This thing is, I have off-road, on-road, all these miles. It's just really, in the sun is the best way to look at this thing. But I have no complaints. It works really well. It does what it's supposed to do, and for the price, it's really good. So again, I'm not bashing them at all. All bikes are gonna have issues. You throw this much at them, and you're gonna see this as everybody's gonna have some issues somewhere. I've had tons of flats and various things from doing crazy stuff, and I think you guys have seen some of that. But that's it. I just wanted to share my 5,000 miles. That's the breakdown of everything. Rad is still a very good bike. There are a lot of other ones out there too that are really good. But at least this is more of a long-term review. You will not regret what you're doing there. And I need to use two hands now, so we're going to turn this thing off. GoPro, stop recording.